Today we are working on Jasper Active Word Lesson 4, the third assignment, working with columns. So the first thing we should do is click the Layout tab, and in the page Setup group click Orientation, and then Landscape. At the top of the document type what's coming up at Tilano and press Enter. Click the Layout tab, and in the page Setup group click Columns. Click 2 for the number of columns. Notice how the document now shows the text in 2 columns, including the title, even though the cursor was at the beginning of the new tour offering heading. This is a good start to the newsletter, although you want the title to be above the columns of text. So select the entire title line, and on the Layout tab click Columns and then click 1. If necessary, delete the blank space between the headings What's Coming Up at Tilano and New Tour Offering. I don't have a blank space there. So let's mark that as answered and go to step 2. Select the text What's Coming Up at Tilano. I'm going to turn these non-printing characters off. So select the text What's Coming Up at Tilano, click the Home tab, and in the Styles group click Heading 1. On the Home tab in the Font group, change the font size to 18. Right now it's 14, so let's change it to 18. Press Ctrl E, and that will center the text. Click the Layout tab, and in the Paragraph group, Layout, change the spacing before to 0. Right now it's 24, so I'm going to bump it down to 0. And the spacing after is going to be 12. Bump that up twice. Notice how the title now appears more in balance with the top of the newsletter, with the visually appealing amount of white space between the heading and the columns of text. Okay? Beautiful. Step 3. Scroll through the pages of the newsletter to review how the text flows in this 2-column format. Suppose you decide you want to have the newsletter fit on one page. You will now change the margins as well as increase the number of columns to 3. So click the Layout tab, and in the page Setup group, click Margins and then Narrow. Margins and then Narrow. You'll notice that only the top margin seems to change on the screen. Remember, you changed the format in the document earlier. You can check this by using the Show Hide feature to see what was done in the document. So that infamous Show Hide feature that I don't like to see, you can see there's a section break, and you can see the things that have been done. Step 3 says to show the formatting marks, and so you see this continuous section break between the title and the column text. So you see that right there. Go to step 4. Click the Layout tab, and in the Page Setup group, click Page Setup Dialog Box Launcher. So right here, we're going to open up the Dialog Box Launcher. The narrow margins are reflected, but you need to change what parts of the document are to be affected. Click the arrow for the Apply To field right here. Click Whole Document. If necessary, reset the margins to 0.5 each. So each margin should be 0.5. Top, left, bottom, and right. And then click OK. This shows what our document should look like, which it does. Turn off the Show Hide feature. Thank you. Don't like it. Mark as answered. Go to the next step. Changes the number of columns from 2 to 3 is what we're going to do now. Click anywhere in the 2-column text. So I'm just going to click down here. Click the Layout tab. And in the Page Setup group, click Columns and then 3. Word automatically reflows the text. However, notice that there are broken paragraphs in the newsletter. Click at the beginning of Our Presentations heading. Click right here at the beginning of that and press Control Enter. Word has moved the column to the next page instead of a third column. When you use Control Enter, you're inserting a manual page break, not a column break. Click on the Quick Access toolbar, click the Undo to undo the page break action. Press Control, Shift, and Enter. Control, Shift, and Enter. This time the text is moved to the top of the third column as you inserted a column break instead. Hint, you can also click Column from the Breaks command, Page Setup group of the Layout tab. So that moved it where we wanted it. With the cursor anywhere in the column text starting with New Tour Offering, so click on New Tour Offering, and ending with Admission to Trade Show. So our cursor is going to be up here. Click Columns and then More Columns. Select Line Between. So check this box that shows a line between to display a vertical line between the columns, and then using the incremental buttons for the spacing of column 1, change this measurement to 0.3. Right now it's 0.5, so I'm just going to bump that down twice and then click OK. Notice that adding lines between the columns did not change the text flow. It's the same as it was, but we do see the line. And that's it. So let's submit it, see if we have 7 green checks. And we do. So if you follow along and got everything right, you've now completed working with columns. If you missed something, you can, as usual, go back and fix everything that you missed.